wanted to surprise you with a little gift today, okay? In this episode, I'm gonna list all my favorite things about you. Number one, I guess we'll do tech news. Telegram CEO Pavel Durov was arrested last weekend on suspicion of failing to moderate criminal activity on the messaging app. But on Wednesday, that suspicion was upgraded to preliminary charges as Durov was released on bail and barred from leaving France pending further investigation. The move seemed sudden, but it makes some sense given that back in March, Durov told the Financial Times he doesn't think they should be policing the way people express themselves unless they cross red lines. Which red lines? Unclear, although it seems like one red line he won't cross is being a tad more specific. And the specifics matter here, especially concerning Telegram's optional use of encryption, which was implemented without proper declaration, according to a statement from French authorities that we translated into English, so hopefully we got that right. A declaration that other encryption using platforms like WhatsApp and Signal have apparently done properly, and now they're worried about Telegram making them look bad by association. Debate over encryption has been raging in the EU, especially after they just passed all these laws that let them boss tech giants around. What? Are we gonna let encrypted platforms get a pass by just putting a sock on the door? Don't look in here. The EU is also investigating whether Telegram deliberately undercounted its users to stay under the 45 million user threshold, which would subject the service to stricter regulation. So we'll see how that goes. All in all, this is a weird story, not just because it's complex, but also because while the EU has gotten serious about holding companies responsible for content hosted on their platforms, that usually hasn't involved arresting the CEO. Crossing red lines. Indeed. Anandtech, the website known for publishing in-depth technical reporting for 27 years, is shutting down, according to a post from editor-in-chief Ryan Smith. In the latest example of written journalism just not making investors happy enough. They just see a wall of letters. It means nothing to them. They need zoom-ins and vine booms, keep them stimulated. They're like incredibly wealthy toddlers.
I feel insecure in my job.
Anandtech has been a rock of the tech journalism world, and one of the only reasons I had a shred of understanding of what the hell I've been talking about for the past 10 years. Founder Anand Lal Shimpi left work on chips for Apple back in 2014, but the site was left in good hands, 2 of which were attached to Dr. Ian Cutress, otherwise known as Tech Potato, for reasons I'll never understand, because Anandtech isn't here anymore to explain it to me. Thankfully, the site itself will remain up for presumably as long as publisher Future PLC decides it wants to. And some Anandtech writers have moved over to their sister site named after a different guy, Tom's Hardware. It's just not the same. Sounds like a place you buy 2x4s.
Welcome to Tom's Hardware. You want cedar or maple?
Apple and Nvidia are both in talks to join forces with Microsoft in launching truckfuls of cash at OpenAI, who have apparently burned through a good chunk of their billions of dollars of investment money. It's a bit of a strange development, given recent speculation that AI hype is steadily descending from its peak into the trough of disillusionment, but it would make more sense if OpenAI is considering removing its cap on investor profits, as reported by the Financial Times. But OpenAI insists their for-profit company is still controlled by the non-profit company, who will absolutely ignore their for-profit investors and refuse to release extremely capable models that threaten to turn the internet into a bubbling soup of AI slop. Yes, they released ChatGPT, that was one time!
With like 4 or 5 updates.
And actually, OpenAI is kind of backing that up with an agreement, also signed by Anthropic, to give the US government's Artificial Intelligence Safety Institute, as well as the UK's equivalent organization, early access to both companies' newest models to conduct safety testing before they're released to the public. I mean, sounds pretty good, and it maybe explains why Sam Altman thought it was okay to disband OpenAI's safety team. They're just outsourcing it to the federal government. Why do the work? They've got time. They're watching TV shows at their desk most days anyway. They might even be watching shows that are only available in a different country if they're smart and using our sponsor, Private Internet Access. PIA hides your IP address and masks the location of your internet connection through an encrypted tunnel, concealing your browsing activity from your internet provider and other weirdos who want to see it. Gross! Get out of here! With a single subscription, you get an unlimited number of connections on devices running Windows, macOS, Android, Linux, iOS, and more on a vast network spanning over 91 countries. Whoa! Plus, PIA never records or stores user data, and if you're skeptical, their app code is open source. Dig in, get in there, and then get on to lmg.gg/PIA TechLinked or the link in the description to get an exclusive deal with a risk-free 30-day money-back guarantee. Okay, I thought of something. You kind of like computers. Okay, here's a quick bit. AMD has confirmed the existence of the long-rumored Ryzen 5 7600X3D, but you're only allowed to be excited about it if you're American. Turns out the processor will be exclusive to US retailer Micro Center, which currently has 28 locations in some of the 50 United States. In a statement, the chief merchandising officer for Micro Center said the chip is a significant step forward in making high-performance, cache-rich processors more accessible, despite it being largely inaccessible. It's been 6 days since the port of Seattle was hit by a possible cyber attack, and the Seattle-Tacoma Airport, aka SeaTac, is still mostly offline with no clear timeline for recovery. The airport's internet, baggage routing, and gate updates are all down, and staff have resorted to taping paper with flight numbers on them to the blank screens by each gate. Luckily, the TSA and air traffic control are on separate systems from the rest of the airport, which is great news for fans of getting groped by the government and not dying in a ball of fire. Microsoft is rebranding its remote desktop app, an eminently Googleable name, to Windows App, in an astounding act of branding self-sabotage.
From the people who brought you 5 different co-pilots.
The so-called Windows App was released in preview under its stupid new name back in November of last year. But yesterday, they confirmed this idiocy by adding a notification to the current app and their website. We're just being harsh.
We're being little stinkers.
Now, you can say the completely true sentence, the Windows app is available for macOS, iOS, and iPadOS, and really confuse your grandma. Anyway, I hope you don't run into technical difficulties and wind up needing to Bing Windows app help anytime soon. Just install the Windows app. Which one? Who's on voiced? Scientists have developed a chemical process to vaporize plastic that could be used to recycle bags and bottles indefinitely. You see, plastic is a polymer, a substance with very large molecules composed of repeating subunits. A polymer is not, and this was news to me, a fish person with multiple partners.
That's a polymer person.
Polymer person. By vaporizing certain unfortunate polymers, they can be reduced to their building blocks to make new plastics. Now, does this solve the whole microplastics inside of us and also the ocean and in our brains issue? Probably not, given that we're vaporizing them. But Chinese researchers are having success making a robust yet compostable hard plastic out of bamboo. And that could help keep the ocean cleaner, saving many non-monogamous fish people. And Midjourney, the company behind AI image generator Midjourney, is getting into hardware. But they haven't been very forthcoming about what kind of hardware. The company did hire engineer Ahmad Abbas back in February, who previously helped design the Apple Vision Pro. Midjourney is also continuing to develop AI models to generate video and 3D environments. Maybe the hardware will be a headset that generates 3D worlds? Or maybe it's an orb. Back in January, Midjourney CEO David Holtz replied to a "Pondering My Orb" meme on Twitter by saying, "We will make the orb." We will make the orb. What does that mean? I don't know, but stay tuned for orb. The best way to stay tuned is to literally stay tuned by coming back on Monday for more tech news. Just kidding. I made a horrible mistake. We're not actually uploading anything on Monday. Not a talk link, not a regular tech link. It's a holiday. So believe it or not, we're taking a holiday. We're taking a day off. So come back on Wednesday for more tech news, please.